Everybody, it's Anthony Brogdon, your man at Strong Inspirations. And I'm talking smoothly because I am super excited. I got a lady on the channel today. And when y'all hear the story, you're gonna be blown away. Now, I'm gonna say this to you up front, everybody. You know that you are not supposed to ask a woman her age. But I'm going to ask her, and if she says it, y'all got it. Y'all going to be tripping on this. This is amazing in my world. It's amazing. And good looking lady, too. Oh, my God. And she's, oh, man. That's all I'm going to say, my friends. So come on and hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations. I'm coming at you. You know I'm coming. And I'm coming strong by the people who come on my show, like this lady. She got dressed. She's sharp. And oh man, this is on point. And then hit the notification, hit the like button, because you're gonna love this one. And then hit the like button. I mean, you see, I'm fumbling on my word. Hit the notifications bell. So you get a ding, a shock, a smoke signal, something to let you know there's new content on Strong Inspirations. And then tell somebody about what I'm doing my very best through the people who I find, luckily, to come on the show, like this lady. I've been attending a church that she goes to. She walks up to the stage and everything. And it was a year ago when they announced her age. And I'm going to leave it at that. And here we are. Y'all know I'm a filmmaker, everybody. Go to and watch this on Amazon. It's businessintheblack.net, The Rise of Black Business in America. There were slaves who owned business. And I talk about that in this film. I wrote a book about it. It's called Black Business Book. Get you a copy of this. You really got to read this. It's an easy read, too. Same thing as the movie, but more facts. Go to my website, businessintheblack.net, businessintheblack.net. You can even find out where I'm speaking because I'm coming at you around the country. And I'm having a little festival with the Black Museum in Mount Bayou, Mississippi. And more of those to come because I want to go see the places and I invite you to join me. Now, you hear me use this term strong a lot. It's my favorite word. In my world, strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to the strong soul, good-looking lady, young sister, too, that's on the show today. Come on and introduce yourself. Thank you for being here.
I am Emma Grimes. My name is Emma Grimes. Okay, I was born in 1923. Now you can count from there forward.
All right, so we ain't going to ask her age, but you heard 1923. And so what I want to do is ask a couple questions about you, let the audience get to know you, and we're going to flow from there. Where were you born?
I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, as I'm told, on Maple Apple Street. But I was there for only 6 days after being born. Moved to Arkansas. And that's where I was raised up till
What
I
part of
was
Arkansas?
Magnolia, Arkansas.
And you got brothers and sisters?
No brothers, no sisters.
Your only child.
Only child.
What was Arkansas? What was Arkansas like? Were you in the city in the rural part of Arkansas?
Well, rural, more or less in the rural part of the time and in the city part of the time.
Did in 1923, and when you were 10 years old, what was life like?
Pardon?
What was life like when you were 10 years old?
When I was 10 years old, life were, I would say, kind of rough as I can remember because it was hard times. When I was 10 years old, it was hard times.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions like this. When you say hard time, you had shoes, didn't you?
had what?
Shoes.
I had shoes. I had one pair of shoes. That was dress shoes. That was the only shoes that I had. You're going to laugh at this when I tell you what I did. My grandmother was in the quilting department, and she had the spools, threads, spools of thread,
Yeah.
and she would save them for me. And I would stick them on the bottom of my feet or my shoes at that time.
So in short, you made your own shoes.
I made my own shoes.
Uh, did you have more than one outfit to wear? Clothes, blue jeans, dresses?
No, I had one dress for church. That was every Sunday. I knew what I was going to have to wear to church. Didn't have to worry about if I could go get this or go put on that. It was just that same dress every Sunday until I were 12 years old.
Okay, let me ask you this. What, but you had to have blue jeans. Was blue jeans out then, or what other outfit did you have?
No blue jeans. All of I had was skirts made from meal and flour bags. You know what that come in. And after they were emptied, they would make me skirts and dresses. And that was my everyday wear.
Did they itch?
No, because I mean the way my grandmother did them, it wasn't no itching in place.
All right. Let me ask you this. What did your parents do for a living?
Well, my grandmother and my mother, my mother worked for outside people. She worked for did work. My grandmother was at home and she did the cooking and the quilting and all of that. Me myself, when I was that age, I had to get up in the morning, go milk the cow because she had one cow. I'd go milk the cow. But before I did that, I'd get up out of my bed. I had to make my bed before I go out of the house. Made my bed, went milk the cow, come back, straighten the milk up, and put it in the ice box. We had a big ice box there where we could have ice. We could get the big plugs of ice. We'd have buy ice twice a week. And we had ice, we had cold milk and all of that.
Okay, you would milk the cow. Did y'all have to do something to make sure the milk was drinkable, or you just drank it straight from the cow?
No, no, no. We put it in that refrigerator. But well, I say refrigerator, but we
Yeah,
called
yeah.
it the ice box back in those days.
But what made the milk drinkable?
What made the milk drinkable? It
Yeah.
sit out until it clabbered. Then you churned it and made butter.
Oh, I see.
Then you put it in the ice box, and it would stay cold. You could drink it
Did
cold
you
or either sweet
did
milk.
you have lights?
No, no lights, lamps with kerosene.
Did you have what kind of stove? What wasn't a stove in the middle of the house, was it?
Yes, it was a stove in the big stove heater in the middle of the house, and it kept the whole house warm because the house was all in one room. We would hang quilts and blankets to separate the room from different, ones sleeping in that room. In the morning, after we get up, we could take those down, and it would just be one big open room for the kitchen and the living room. We sat in the bedroom.
Did the house have windows?
Yeah, it had windows, but they wasn't glass windows, they were wooden doors. Like we opened and closed the door. That's the way that one was. It was a hole there for the window, but it was a door to close.
Yeah, I
No
got you.
glass.
But how close was the people next door to you?
Oh, I would say about a mile or 2 miles. We weren't very close. We weren't close neighbors.
So
but
you
they
grew
were
up
good
by
friends.
yourself pretty much.
I was by myself because I was the only child. And then when school was out, I would go and spend the summer with the uncle, which had kids, and he lived in the city limit of the town.
Did you how did you play?
I played with rocks, didn't have anything to play with. To Christmas time, I would get a couple of oranges or apples and maybe a toy.
Did you think you were poor?
As of today, I thought I was poor. But then as I grew up and learned the facts about life, I was rich because I had everything that you could have. We had plenty of food. We had food. Wasn't nobody hungry.
Where'd you get the food from?
They grew the food, the meal, the corn, they make meal. They went to the mill, ground that meal, corn into meal
You ate that every day?
every day because my grandmother, she had a garden. So we ate vegetables, we had fruit, and we had the meat.
And where did the meat come? Y'all had your own animals to eat?
Had one hog, and she would have pigs, and they would kill those pigs and make the meat. And they would salt it down with a lot of salt and hang it and smoke it. And what they call it, dry cure it.
Did you ever kill a pig?
No, I didn't, but I saw quite a few of them be killed.
Did you ever to wring a chicken's neck?
Oh, yes, I have. I bring the chicken neck because they would put chickens up in a cup to clean them out. They didn't leave them with the other chickens. So ever how many chicken that they plan to cook for that particular time, they would have it put up in the meal, and so they fed them corn and water. And that's what they call cleaning out the chickens so they would be fresh.
When you had to kill a chicken, did that scare you? Like, I'm scared of doing it. I don't want to do it, or nothing like that.
No, it didn't bother me from what I had seen from the way they killed the pigs.
Did when they cooked dinner, was dinner the same time every night, pretty much?
More or less, more or less. At a
What
certain
time did you
time,
have to wake up in the morning?
I'd have to wake up early in the morning, especially if it was school season.
Because how did you
But
get to
otherwise,
school?
I walked to school.
How long a walk was that?
Well, up until our finished junior high, 8th grade, I had 5 miles to walk, going 5 miles walk, coming back
Wow. With bad shoes.
with bad shoes because I had that one pair of shoes for school and I had the one pair of shoes for Sundays. And those what I had for school had to last me the school season.
And so this is a crazy. But when you walk, you knew the path to not walk around, not walk on the rocks and stuff like that. You had to always look down so that your feet wouldn't get cut, right?
Right. Because it was a trail, like just what you call a trail, side of the road, you know. And I walked that trail, and that way I didn't have to walk through the road where it traveled on the rocks.
When so because you grew up so far away, did you almost had to walk by yourself a long way?
I had to walk until I met with the group that lived close to us, which was like a mile and a half apart. We walked together, but I had to walk to their area to get with them.
Yeah. Who were the teachers? Were the teachers black people or white people?
Black. We was all black, no whites at that time when I was going to school at that age.
What was the school a one-room school?
Well, it was the church. We had school that's school in the church 5 days. Then Saturday and Sunday was church service.
Was the teachers good? Did you learn something?
I learned quite a bit. I learned quite a bit. Yes, I did.
Were you a good student?
I was a good student for a simple reason. They had was teasing me about you have no sisters and no brothers. If you get in a fight, they gonna beat you up. So I was good, I was nice to everybody. So I didn't have any fights. And I was friendly with everybody.
Where does white people come in your life at this point when you're young?
When I finished 8th grade, I went to the 9th grade. And that's when I come in contact with going with a mixed.
Did you see white people when you were before the 8th grade?
Oh yes, I saw them. But we weren't in school together.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
in different schools.
Did you think white people were better than black people?
No, I didn't think anyone was better than anybody. But I always said, I'm just as good as you are. I was always what you call an independent kid because I, had no background, no backup help. So I felt I was independent.
At that time, did they have whites only, blacks only, water fountains, and all that kind of stuff?
I beg your pardon.
Did they have white only, black only water fountains?
No, because it was always wells. It was a well everywhere that I went, at that age until I finished the 8th grade.
And the well is in the ground. You got to
Oh,
pump the lever to get the water out, and that's what the water you drink.
no, it wasn't that way. It was a bucket you put down in the well and draw the water.
Really?
Yeah, the water was already down in the well, and you put the bucket down in there and get it filled, and you pull it back up.
How did you take hot showers?
You didn't have no hot showers. You had a tin tub, and it was like a triple lining, long, and that's where you heat your water, and you get in there and get a bath. You didn't get no showers unless you got wet out in the rain. That was your shower.
Where did the soap come from?
My grandmother made soap at that age before, and I didn't know anything about body cleansing soap until I was 14.
Wow.
Then I could go to the store and I could buy that soap because I was doing a little work for different ladies. I learned a lot from working out in the public.
When you were growing up, did um was all of the black people poor? Did you think, or were there some black people that was not poor?
I didn't get that.
What was? I'm trying to see. What was that? Was all the black people poor, like in the same condition you were in? Did you thought?
More or less, everybody was about the same field.
Well, as you look back on it, was that racism that made black people poor?
I don't think so. Not now as I could see, because everybody looked like they lived to themselves. Every race, was kept to themselves because the white was on their side and the black was on theirs, and everybody got along.
How far was the white people from where you grew up?
Oh, now they was in the inner city, and that was about Hmm. The same amount, same miles that it were before when I was going to school each day.
Did when you were growing up, did your mom's grandmother tell you how to treat white people, how to respect them, how not to look at them and stuff like that?
No, they didn't. And it was just something about me or something in me. I just felt that I just stayed in my place and you stay in yours and we can be friends.
I gotta ask you a big question right now that comes to mind, and I'm gonna use the right word for it too. Have you ever been called a nigger?
No, never called a nigger. I would never call the nigger. Even though I have heard the word passed from different ones, said they had been called it. But all my lifetime, I never had been called a nigger.
What did y'all call white people?
They called them, see, what did they call them? I'm trying to think. Peckerwoods, that's what they were called.
When you went through okay, but when you went to the big city, did the big city intimidate you?
No, not really, because I still stayed to myself. I've always been alone, lonely.
Yeah.
So I grew up that way. So that's just the way I was all through life. Now, when I went into the ninth grade, that's when I began to live like people supposed to live. Like not me myself living, but I mean, enjoy the life the way people should like enjoy life.
You went to the dances?
Went to the dances, yes.
Did they have a prom?
No, for at first, with a few, it
Yeah.
was the problem. It
For
was
for the
always
for
the
like the
problem with
12th
the
grade
few,
prom or something like that.
right? But after a year or two of being in our junior high school and into high school, everything seemed to cool off because we all were mixed up in together, class wise, business wise, church wise, and all of that wise. We all began to get to the church together, school together, played together, had a few fought together. But all through my school days, I had one fight in my school life.
Did you so what was the bathroom at the house?
Outside. You had to go outside to a little house, and that was the bathroom. And ever so often, they had to put something on it was white. And I can't remember what it was, but it was something to kill the germs and keep the flies away and the animals that was wrong, be crawling around.
Was that scary for you? How did you? I mean, you got to sit on the toilet in the dark and all that other stuff. Or did they have a candle in there? Did you have to walk with a candle?
Nothing you had to have a jar, a bucket of inside the house with the top on it that you use if you had to use it. And then you take it out in the morning.
And so you sat on the bucket?
Yes.
Wow. Did so okay, let's see this. How was black men back then? Were there strong black men somewhere? Did you see any strong black men?
Yes, they were. That's the most of what you saw. Mostly were black men, and they were very black.
Did did you hear of any and I'm talking about later in life, any stories of what white people had done to black people during slavery?
My grandmother, I heard her talk about how they did the slavery people back because my grandmother, she was sold and she was in slavery. And she would tell me about how they were treated.
So your grandmother was enslaved.
Right.
So let's say she was born, what, in 18, what do you think?
1856.
And she got her freedom because of the end of slavery. How did she get her freedom?
She was sold from there. She was sold from one slave to another. And that's how she got her freedom. Then after that, she got married and she was said she was free.
Did she tell you of some of the things that happened to her as a slave?
She never told me anything like that because in those days, the older people kept things so secretly that the younger people didn't get any information of it. The way you got information about anything was through uh, overhearing a conversation from someone else.
Do you think that was because they were embarrassed?
I don't know if they thought they was embarrassed. It was embarrassing to them. If they because they didn't want it to get out, whatever happened to them, they just kept it to themselves.
What, had you heard of anybody being lynched in your town?
I pardon.
Anybody being lynched?
Lynched, not in my family, no, but she did say they were being lynched. Quite a few were lynched, they get killed, hung and killed.
Wow. Well, did she have an education? Did your grandmother have an education?
Not much, not much. But she was what you call let me get it together. She had common sense that mother went.
Did your mother have an education?
Not much.
Oh, okay. Did you finish high school yourself though?
More or less. I finished junior high school. I finished high school. I left home at the age of 15, almost 16, and went into a school they called Nevada County Training School.
Okay.
And I was there 4 years. So after I finished that, I began to learn more or less the facts of life through the lady that was on the dump where I lived. She took a lot of time and patience with me because she seen that it looked like I was alone. So after that 4 years, I went to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, to MI College. I spent 1 year there. And I met this young man and his mother, I'm sorry, not his mother. His sister was a nurse, and she introduced me to her. His father was the founder of MI College at Holly Springs, Mississippi. Holly Springs, Mississippi had a college on one side of the freeway named Russ College, but I went to MI College. I spent a year there. After being there a year, I felt that if I went to Memphis, Tennessee, I could get a better job. So I went to Memphis, Tennessee. And his sister, she encouraged me to continue my nursing course. So she helped me to get in. So I did get in. I worked there and worked at a hotel in the kitchen. And the lady was the cook there. And she taught me just like she was my mother. I learned a lot from her. So after being there, I met a cousin of mine we went to school together. and she met the guy that I was entertaining, and they were talking. So she said, well, she gave me his address and phone number. So we talked and talked about the old days and everything. So we got married, got together, back together, and got married. So during that time, I was still working on. I had 6 months to go before I finished my RN. But by me going to Detroit, I had to lend the time on my experience and education of in nursing. So I got my papers together and wrote them up. So then I was telling him that I was starting to work. And he looked at me real funny because we had got married then. So he said, I don't think so. No wife of mine work because both of us not coming home and be tired. So at that point, I had no money, no place to go then, but I just had to stay there and put up with whatever. So he had a daughter. I had 2 kids, and he had his niece. That were 4 kids and 2 of us. That was 6 people. So I had to stay home then, but that was the end of life to me. But further on up the road, things broke, and I became a lady. And I just took it up on my own to say, nothing is going to stop me now.
Oh my God.
And so I went on, and so he and I divorced, but all the kids wanted to stay with me because they knew what I went through with, and they could understand it when the judge was questioning me and questioning them. So they gave me the custody of the kids. So I grew up, and that's when I became a lady to really stand on my feet and run the world like I wanted to be run and feel like I was a real lady, which I had fought to fight
How old were you at that point?
at that age.
Yeah.
Uh, Let me see. I had to be around 40 at that time.
Let me ask you this. We hear those stories about black men feeling that way. Why did they feel that way? Was there something about them to say, I gotta be the man of the house or something like that?
I'm the man of the house, and what I said go. That's just the way it was.
Um, so you uh what let's go back this one. When you went to church, the preacher was the male, right? He was a man.
Right, right.
Did you enjoy going to church?
I did. I did.
And y'all did y'all stay all day in church? Did the church
No,
start at
we didn't stay all day. We stayed, get in church. Sunday school, 9 o'clock. Out of Sunday school, 10:30. In church service, we'd be back in service for church service, 11 o'clock. 1 o'clock, we were through. We'd go home or just go out around.
yeah? When you were growing up, if you look back on what was a happy moment, was Christmas a happy moment, or your birthday was a happy moment? When was the happiest moment?
The happiest moments
Yeah.
of my life as I grew older and a birthday come up.
You ever have a party?
I had parties, but it was after I was older. My first really party was when I was 80 years old.
Really?
That was really my first party that I really enjoyed. The
Let's
next
go.
party I had, I was 85. That was a small party.
Yeah.
When I turned 90, I had another big party. I enjoyed that party.
Yeah.
So after that one, I have had a party since.
Yeah.
But
Let
I
me let,
enjoyed the days that come that I was a year older.
let me ask you this: when you were young and you didn't have telephone,
No,
how did- how how did people communicate?
when they would meet up someplace and see each other.
Okay. Then when telephone got invented, did that blow your mind?
Not
When you
really,
first
but
used the telephone, did you say, I'm on a telephone? I can hear somebody?
right, right. And eventually, there was a phone in the house.
What about TV? When TV first, the first time you saw TV, did that just like, all
That
I can
was
say
like
is blow your mind?
that did because let me see, TV was like 47, 48, probably 52 to really see a TV in the house.
And at
19,
that time, it was black and white and all that type of,
right,
yeah, I'm
right.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, what was one of your favorite shows? Did like Amos and Andy? I'm just saying that
Right.
because
They
that's the
was
only one I know. Was that a show you
right.
watched?
They were the first show that I think I watched, Amos and Andy.
And those were two white guys, wasn't it?
Right, right.
But you thought they were funny.
They weren't funny to me at that time.
Did you know they were two white guys?
I knew they were two white guys.
Were they making fun of black people?
At times they did.
And then what? But then before the TV was the radio, right?
Right, right.
Did you have a radio?
Not early. It was late up in the years before I had a radio.
These questions coming at me. When you read by candlelight, does that mess with your eyes after a while?
I didn't use candles because I didn't have candles. The way I read, did my homework and read, I had to lay down on the floor in front of the fireplace and get my lesson out to read and do.
And the floor was a wooden floor with nails
The
and
floor
everything.
was a wooden floor, right,
You put a blanket down to lay on it, right?
right. You're right.
Just a few more. Were you scared of the snakes and stuff like that in the woods?
I didn't go out in the woods because I was afraid of it. I stayed more or less around the house in the yard.
Because there were snakes out there, wasn't it?
There were snakes out there. They were there.
Being in where you grew up in Arkansas, uh, it was hot during the summer. How did you stay cold? How did you deal with the heat?
Well, by being raised there, and you, when the heat started, it's just like any other state. You were used to the heat, and you could put up with it, but you fanned, used paper fans. You didn't have no air conditioning like that because you didn't have no electricity. So you just had to stay in the shade in the daytime, and at night sit out in the yard until you had to go to bed.
Moving up the timeline. Okay, so now you got radio, you got TV, and then telephone comes on. When do you start noticing all the other advancements in life, like driving a car? Did y'all have a car when you grew up?
No, no car. Never had a car growing up. Just friends and uncles. A couple of uncles had cars. They would come by and pick us up and take us different places sometimes. But all the other time was still walking wherever you wanted to get to, and you didn't go.
Was it? What, did you catch the bus?
I would catch the bus to go where?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, like up at the end of the time, I went to one of my uncle's houses, go stay with him a week to clean his house up, do the some churches in the summer, where they have those August meetings, those
Yeah.
meetings through for a week. And a friend of mine, and I was at church that night, laid across the street. I went with her and her daughter. So this young man, he was there. So he walked us home. My uncle was sitting out in the yard. And so when I went in the house, I was going in and take my shoes off, and get comfortable, go come back out in the yard, and talk with my uncle and the young man. So when I get back out there, he had talked to the young man and said, well, I told the young man, don't let me see you with her anymore because she's not dating. So he said, oh, we weren't dating. We was just went to school together, and we
Yeah.
met here. And I walked her home and come here and sit out in the yard, go talk a while. And that's what happened. So when I went back in the house, I went back in the house and packed my little suitcase. But I didn't try to leave then. So he got up and went to work the next morning. And I put the rest of my things in my little suitcase and went out to the road and to catch the bus. When the bus comes, I flagged the bus down and went back down to where my auntie was, where my mother was at that time. And she kept sitting on the porch. And I could tell she was looking as if to say, who is that? Who's that? And so as close as I got, she knew who I was. She said, I thought you had planned to spend the week. I said, but you just don't know what happened. So I can tell that she felt that something happened that shouldn't have happened, like it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So I told her what he said and everything and all of that. So I said, but I told him when I told her, rather, I'm sorry,
Mm.
he ain't got to worry about me coming to his house anymore because I won't be going there. I don't care what. So he lived a long time after I was grown and grown up, had children. So I asked my mother, I said, you want to go to the funeral? She said no. So I got ready, went on to work. I came back that night. I said, Mama, you want to go? She said, whenever she was calling me Emily like that, I know exactly what she meant. She said, I told you I didn't want to go. I'm not going. Don't ask me no more. So I didn't ask her anymore about going to his funeral. So she did go. She didn't want to go.
I'm going on. How did you get whoopings?
I got whooping because looked
I mean,
like
was it with a
everybody
switch, a belt,
would
or
throw a switch, whatever they got in their head. My grandmother even whipped me with the yard broom, and she whipped me with the yard broom. She whipped me with the belt. She whipped me with the switch. And I said then, I said, well, Lord, I'll be glad when I get old enough to be here.
What's the difference between women then and women now? When you were growing up, did they tell you you can't have relations with boys, don't wear skirts, don't do this, don't do that. And the women today are so much different. What would you say is the difference?
It's different because in my days, you didn't wear nothing but skirts or either a dress. You didn't wear pants. You can't wear pants. That's for men. Men wear pants. Ladies wear dresses and skirts.
Could a girl kiss a boy back then?
No, not to be seen. Because if they walked you home, when you get your foot up out of one step, somebody behind you was stepping in it. And you had a friend, you were helped hand by a handkerchief. Handkerchief one in, never in your hand, one in, never in his hand.
Could a girl dance with a boy, a slow dance?
Not close. Not close.
Um, just a few more, I guess. So when you, so what's life like now? What's amazing about life now? That you from where you started to now, what's life like? To see in all these years and all these changes.
It seemed very enjoyable. But in late years, the way the state, the government, the lawyers, the doctors, and the preachers, and all of that, the states have changed the way the parents raise the children. It's a big difference because nowadays you're not allowed to whoop your child. You're not allowed to to tell your child too much, in a voice that's kind of, very strong. Mm. So to me, it's like the children are raising the parents nowadays to a point. And that I don't approve of. But I'm not going to jail. If I had some kids now that were kids and they disrespect me or did anything, I would just be going to jail because I would just go to jail because if I got to feed you, clothe you, shelter you, and then I can't chastise you or whip you when you need it, no. You just come and get that child. That child do something wrong, don't call me because I won't be there. But I wouldn't have one like that because just like I said, you gonna do what I said do when I know I'm right about using you to whip you when you need it. I know how to whip a kid. I don't hit them upside the head. I don't hit them in the back. I hit their legs. I get those legs, but I'm gonna whoop them with the strap. I whoop them with the strap, but not with the heavy straps. But when I turn him loose or her, they would know I've been there. And every time they think about doing something wrong, they would think about the last whooping they got.
How big is education to you?
Nowadays, I win.
Nowadays, I mean, like with your kids, did you stress education to all of them as a way of making something for themselves?
Right, I did. I told them, you go to school, you learn. You get an education. It's something nobody can take away from you. You always have it. Use it to the fullest. So I had 3 boys, 1 girl. So all of them went to college and they all grew up to be nice young men.
I love it.
Like I live with one of them now.
I love it. When was the first time you were on the airplane?
The first time I flew an airplane,
yeah,
that was like from 1964. Yeah, 1964. Up until about 3 years ago, I stopped flying because I felt I had flew enough.
You wasn't scared when the first time you went on the airplane?
I wasn't afraid, but I was kind of furious. Like I saw an old lady on there. She getting on the plane. She looks like she was about 75 or 80 years old. I said, now, if she could get on the plane and fly, I can too.
There you go. All right. Did you ever drive?
No, I tried, but I didn't finish. I didn't try. I, did. I just rode. I was a passenger driver.
Yeah, but I'm saying, did you ever get a license to drive yourself?
No, I had a permit, but I never finished it
Oh,
to
really?
use it. So I never
Oh.
drove.
Two more. Would you rather be born now or then?
Will I really be born now or then?
Yeah.
Uh, I really can't say. I think I would rather been born back in those days, but not to have to go through with all what I went through with growing up. Because nowadays, I mean, it's dog eat dog, kids killing parents, and all of that, and I just don't see it or understand it. So I think I would rather been born back when I was.
And I guess when you said that, you wish that somehow your mom could have made more money.
Right, right. But as growing up, when you don't have you and you don't see nobody else with it, you can't say, I wished I had this, I wished I had that. The only time I wish that I could have had something, I would be looking in magazines and see cars on the pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would say, oh, I'll never be there. But as time went by, I was there, enjoyed it because I went through Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee, Holly Spring, Mississippi, and back to Detroit. So here I am. So I enjoy life.
My last question is: so are you proud of yourself?
Very proud of myself.
How did you live to be how old you are? Did you eat good? Did you exercise? What would you tell other people for them to, and maybe just got lucky, but how did you, yeah, that's the question.
Well, I enjoyed it because I exercised. I did a lot of playing basketball. I ate good because I never been a big meat eater. I'm more or less a vegetarian.
Okay. Didn't smoke?
Oh, yes, I did. I smoked for about 50 years. And I was at the bowling alley one day and I had 4 cigarettes. I said, dog, I didn't get me no cigarettes from home because I kept cigarettes in my refrigerator. And I didn't take any to the bowling alley with me that day. So I smoked one and I sit there a few minutes. I smoked cigarette number two. I said, dog, I don't have but 2 more cigarettes. Seemed like someone almost pushed me off of the stool where I was sitting. I smoked it and I looked, I said, oh, I have 1 cigarette. I said, oh, well, I'll ask somebody for a cigarette that's always asking me for a cigarette, which I never had to do. So I smoked that last cigarette and looked like something pushed me off the stool, almost just pushed me. Said, go and smoke that cigarette. You're not going to smoke anymore. And I had smoked so long and everything. So I had started praying, asking the Lord to take the taste of nicotine from me. And God is my secret judge as I sit here tonight. When I smoked that cigarette, I haven't had a taste for a cigarette since.
Oh my God. That leads to my last question, I promise you. How good is God?
God is good. God is good. Best friend I ever had. A lot of people say, oh, that's my best friend. They might be your best earthly friend. But in God with me, that's my Father God. That's the best friend I ever had.
Is there something a question that I have not asked you, or I mean, if you could go over, is there something that you want to say to people that might be watching this?
Anything that I would like to say to the people, first of all, be truthful to yourself. Then you can be truthful to your fellow man. Trust in God and ask God for what you want. Live the life, as I said so often to myself and to someone. I live the life I sing about in my soul. And there's another song. We be together and we lead each other. I would say, this may be the last time. I don't know. We may meet again, but I don't know. Be faithful and be truthful. And God bless us all.
Everybody, that's the last word.
That's
I
the
got
last.
nothing left but some tears, man. I got nothing left. Strong inspirations. Well, we give it to you straight, no chasing. Oh, how about that? Since I said that, did you drink?
I drank for my 21st birthday. I had a party. It was 6 couples of us. So they were taking me out for my party. The first thing they gave us was 6 gallons of beer. I tasted that beer and I couldn't swallow it. I rushed to the restroom, come back and sit down to the table. I called the waitress over. She said, "What do you want now?" I said, "Bring me a shot of Old Taylor." At that time, Old Taylor was the best whiskey they called. Old Taylor. She brought me the Old Taylor. I spit that out. I said, "Oh, somebody could have this shot. I don't want it." I called the waitress back over. She said, "Now what do you want?" I said, "Bring me a Coke and 3 cherries." And she brought me that. That settled the whiskey. And that was my drink from then on up until about 8 years ago. I stopped drinking Cokes. But to drink alcohol, I never had a taste for it after that. That was my first and last drink.
Everybody, this is it. This is how we do here. Beautiful lady. And you felt that passion. She told you back in the day, 1923, right?
1923.
You do the math, everybody. I thank you
Nine
so very
six.
much for coming on.
Okay, 9/6/23.
Let me ask you. How about this? I keep coming while I got you. Is there a Bible verse that you have followed?
The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. First time.
There it is, everybody. I thank you so very much for doing this with me. Everybody hit the subscribe button, the strong inspirations, hit the like button. There is no love button. I know you loved it because I did tremendously. Hit the notification bell. You get a ding, a shock, something to let you know there's new content. And and tell people about us here at Strong Inspirations. And to you, my sister, and I mean this with all sincerity, I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind, keep doing it. I look forward to seeing you at church on Sundays and everything else. And to your son who's in the background, man, thank you for allowing me, man. Come on, go in the camera. He nearby, everybody see him. That's the son, everybody. Good young man. Holding it down for moms. He facilitated this, everybody. And I asked him at church, can I do it? He said, hey, man, I asked her, she said, okay. And here we are.
Yes, sir.
This is going down in history. I got to ask you, how's it feel to have your mom this long, to have her whip you like she did?
Well, here's the thing. It's a blessing to have her for as long as I've had her and the years that I look forward to continue having her. Now, the part about the whoopings, I'm the youngest. And I would like to think I was the smartest because I watched what my siblings did to get whoopings, and I knew that's not what I was going to do. Right. So I think I can count. I might be exaggerating, but I only remember maybe 4 or 5 whoopings in my life.
Yeah.
Because
She
I
would have
watched
got
them.
you.
She would have got me.
She would have got you now.
Yo, trust me.
Yeah.
She would have got me.
You would have got it. And everybody, he about 6'4". She would have swung high. She would have got him. Hey, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I'll be back at you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You. All right. Love y'all.
Good night.